Hey there. Have you been feeling limited or even hemmed in your options and possibilities when it comes to relationship and connection in this life? My name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today's topic is opening opportunities. I have been considering and was talking to my beloved dear friend at work today about the concept that every relationship I've had, there's been ways in which that romantic relationship or sexual union has checked boxes for me. And there have been some unchecked boxes, if you will. And the reality is, any connectivity, any relationship, any way that we come in to get to know another, we are knowing something that is distinct from us. And there may be ways that it doesn't necessarily jive, if you will, I like this about them, but not that over there. I don't like that part, And so there are ways that judgment may flesh up. There are ways that superiority complex or inferiority complex may flush up in the field from self or from other. And when we come to connect with and relate to another, we are not necessarily going to understand every aspect of them. We definitely are not going to have context on many aspects of that person, because how well do you know yourself? How well do you think you can honestly know another person, right? Aren't you still getting to know the self? I know I am at 50. I'm still getting to know the self. And so I was thinking, because I've had a lot of opportunity coming into 2026 and at the end of 2025 to date, and actually just throughout my life, to date people that are part of the ethical non-monogamy crowd, which just means people that are non-monogamous can often be portrayed as being charlatans or whores or sluts. We love to do a lot of sexual judgment in this world. I don't really understand why, because you have sexual drive unless you feel asexual or reproduce by budding or something, but like most of us have sexual drive, so that it's part of our design, therefore couldn't be bad. But you have this impulse to connect and commune and be with someone. And as you come into any level of partnership or connection, you'll find that there are a certain number of check boxes of what you're actually looking for that are not a match. For me, ethical non-monogamy is not a match. However, I have a tremendous amount of respect for any being that is able to say they're an E&M practitioner rather than saying they're monogamous and being a cheater and a liar. I'd rather hang out with somebody that's down with no, I just like multiple lovers, and this is an ethical act, and I'm not trying to be untoward, and I'm clear and honest with you on the front. Love that story. Love it. Not a match, but thank you for the clarity, because we don't have to waste any time, But I was thinking recently, as somebody who has a tremendous sex drive, do I want to be non-ethical, non-monogamy at 50? There are a lot of reasons I prefer monogamy. And, one of them is I enjoy being STD free. You teach their own. I don't have judgments if you have STDs. I just am, and I'm grateful for it. And when I expose myself to a lover that has multiple lovers, and I myself have multiple lovers, I'm exposing myself to a larger pool of the potentiality of garnering an STD. It's just the math on it. I'm going to have less time with that person, which might affect my intimacy or capacity to intimacy, to spend time, to go into a state of depth and connection with an entity. When I'm spending less time with them, I will have less opportunity to get to know them and for them to get to know me. So those are aspects and reasons why I tend to pursue monogamy. But what I was thinking about is, are there any ways that I close opportunity? I met an amazing man who is an E&M practitioner, and he is somebody that is clearly on the shamanic path, deeply interesting. And it's like as soon as I see E&M or atheist, I'm like, no, not a match. I'm super spiritual. You don't have to be like me. But if you don't get to know the facet of my being that is deeply developed called spiritual Heather, then what is the point of us being in union? Because there's a whole world of me that you're not going to know. And that whole slice of you that is chosen to identify more scientific in nature and more atheistic, I don't get to know. And so I want a lover that I deeply get to know. I'm not afraid to have somebody look into me, and I'm not afraid to look into somebody else, because I practice unconditional love or looking without judgment. But just because we can be unconditional in our love or be able to appreciate somebody in the wholeness of who they are and understand that we all have shadow and light doesn't necessarily mean that We don't have expectations, desires, or interest, or things that we seek. And sometimes we make and collapse our possibilities by making that such a small, tiny, tight box. It's like, you've got to think this way. You've got to think this way politically. You've got to be this way spiritually. I only like redheads, or I only like women that are 5'2", or, I only want a tall man or a man with a beard. Or you start to collapse the more you start to define and shape what that is. Granted, we have 8.2 billion people, but not all of them are available if we're talking about the construct of dating, let's say. And, many of them that are available are not people you'd want to date. And so sometimes what happens is you can look at something and go, oh, that looks like it checks all the boxes. But then when you engage with the being, you go, none of this is really checking. This is checking almost none of my boxes, actually. Come to find out, that wasn't a match. I'm so glad that was a no, What I'm wanting to do is to be always very honest with myself. And you hear all the time, like, nobody's perfect. You're never going to have that perfect match. Well, as a young girl that was raised with all these concepts and stories that say, I'm a woman that should just grow out my hair, and that wicked witch that locked me in the tower, eventually a man will come and save me and be my hero that frees me from my prison. Thank God I grew out this hair, or like, I'm a woman that's just asleep in this box that ate an apple, just like Eve, stupid apple-eating women, whatever. There are all these fairy tales we are fed that say, at some point, someone's going to come and save you, and they're going to be an amazing, charming, romantic prince that has all the... And no, no. And my work to do is to realize where I am not showing up in a way that checks boxes. And it's not about me needing to check if there are 100 boxes for another, but are there any ways I'm out of integrity? Are there any ways I'm not being clear? Are there any ways I'm not really understanding? Another thing I tend to want to ask myself is, where have I put myself in a box? Like, I get very clear, like, the person that I should be with, I believe now, would be a spiritual person because I focus so much attention there. They would be a monogamous and loyal person because I'm a deeply monogamous and loyal person, and I have that grace to offer. And there are people in this world that will value that, and that would be a precious gem. And that is a gem I have to offer, And so we start making these lists. One of the things I've worked to do, whether it be lover, whether it be friend, whatever it is to open it up more, open up more opportunities. Can you be friends with someone of any age? Can you be friends of someone that is not of like mind and might challenge your opinion? You know what I mean? Do you have to be agreed with? Can you be lovers with somebody that has a different idea than you do about what union means? I have an ex that every time we have amazing chemistry, he says beautiful things, and I love the way he speaks to me. It is very dear. He also has a tendency, when he's been intimate with a woman, to want to flee. And he has a history of not being loyal or monogamous with me, right? But I really enjoy his company. We really get along. And so I was evaluating, like, it's interesting how often we can just push things out of our life and go, you have several things that are not on the list. But are we evaluating our own list of relationship, our own list of friendship, our own list of partnership, and making sure that where we stand is truly our truth in our now? I don't know that my truth has changed regarding monogamy and loyalty. I still like that about me, and do believe that there are beings that have that to offer me as well, and I will appreciate the gem that is. And what I want to be present with is there's something that I'm saying are you saying you want friendships, but you push people out of your life if they are not an echo of you? Do you have to live in an echo chamber? Does everyone have to agree with you? Are you able to be with people that are unattractive or not fashionable? Or does everyone around you need to support you looking cool and appease your ego? Maybe you're missing the mark of friendship because you valued more looking good, Are you missing the opportunity of relationship because it's like they have to have long hair, or they have to have blah, 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 red toenail polish, or whatever it is. And you've gotten so specific that you've collapsed something that could have been a really precious nectary fruit for you to taste the sweetness of in this life. Are there any ways today that you can open opportunity by being more willing to connect with a larger audience or a larger offering of what's possible? And do you accept that every being is doing their work and there's no such thing as a perfect connectivity? You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube. I'm